Hello, everyone. This is Coach Jackie Zach, and I'm excited to have Mary Pellettieri, the owner of Top Note Tonic, with us today. Mary spent the last 30 years in food safety, beverage manufacturing, brewery, and quality. She currently owns her own brand of beverage mixers, Top Note, and consults for an ingredient company. Something unique about Mary is that she has a BS in botany. Her favorite things to do in her downtime are garden, walk by the lakefront in Wisconsin, hike, something you're most proud of. You're writing a book for the Brewers Association on brewing quality. That's awesome. So it is my pleasure to welcome Mary Pellettieri to the show today. Hello, Mary.
Hi, Jackie.
All right. So tell us a little bit about your personal story.
Well, personal story kind of starts with that love for plants and continues on today. I started with a botany degree at North Carolina State. Didn't know where I was going to take that, just knew I wanted to stay where I was very intrigued how people used plants for food and medicine. And I eventually found my way to Goose Island Beer
Mm-hmm.
in Chicago and was the quality manager there for years. That's where I really cut my teeth and my skills building a kind of an understanding of what a quality manager does and building my role as a kind of a leader in that part of the industry. And I found my way to Miller Coors after that, basically doing the same thing and kind of learned more about business and how to run business and business metrics, et cetera, from Miller. But I missed the entrepreneurial spirit at Goose Island, so I started my own company, Top Note, and we've been making award-winning craft mixers ever since. We've been around really since 2017 in the bottles, and before
Mm-hmm.
that, we were making those in cocktail syrup form for farmers markets, that sort of thing. So
Oh,
always
wow.
been working with plants. Never want to stop working with plants. And I do believe we're empowered to eat better and take control of our health more by what we eat.
That's wonderful. So tell us, what's a funny story that your family tells about you that you're willing to share? That's always the
Um,
caveat, right? Willing to share.
yeah. Um, I think my sister would probably say I was the more responsible one in the family. So, you know, my sister and I would have I live now in Wisconsin. My parents had a house in Wisconsin and they would leave for the weekend and we would have parties. But I was the one that stayed sober and cleaned. Um, so that was kind of what I kind of became known for is the one that became kind of the parent without the parents at home. But I was always responsible. I always thought you needed to drink responsibly, and that kind of went together with my health and wellness perspective on life. But yeah, I think I truly lived that even in my younger years. Yeah.
I think that's really interesting since you were the one who was the responsible one during your parties, and here you are, you work in
Yeah.
the alcoholic beverage industry. I think
It
that's really
hasn't stopped.
interesting.
That's the irony is I've been in alcohol beverage all my life,
Right,
but I wasn't the
right,
drinker. So,
right. So tell us a little story about how your business came about, and at what point did you have the confidence that you could run your own business?
you know, the the story of me starting my own business, it actually started before I worked for Miller Coors. I took that leap from a small company to a big because my mom passed away, and we felt I just something about that. She died fairly young, and I think there was something about that that inspired me to just kind of go for it,
Hmm.
live life with gusto, and just go for it. And moved up to Milwaukee and really enjoyed that. But I never really stopped feeling that. So the confidence came after some time with Miller Coors, and I realized I have some good ideas. You know, being a large company, kind of struggle with new product development.
Hmm.
I knew it wasn't easy, no matter what size you were. And I think that also gave me some confidence that it's if anyone, why not me? I needed
Hmm.
to take a shot at it, and the and it's not so much the confidence of going for it as much as it is the confidence that if you fail, you're not going to lose yourself in the
Right,
process.
right.
Um, and knowing that if I didn't go for it, there was a point that I said, if I don't go for this, I'm afraid I never will. I became more fearful of not doing it than doing it.
Oh, wow.
And and that was when I said, well, I'll just have to go for it then.
Great. So tell us a little bit more about Top Note.
Top Note's an award-winning craft mixer brand. We've been in a multi-serve package, 2 servings in a bottle since we started. And we also have a format of our products in for the soda gun, which is quite unique for the space. We've always strongly felt that sustainability should lead the way, so that's why the packaging is the way it is. We just make great tasting craft mixers with less sugar. We've won multiple awards. We continue to win multiples of awards that our competitors don't win. And it's just because I took my craft beer mentality and spun it to soft drinks, where I thought these needed to be more balanced. When I started Top Note, it was actually, still a brewer, and I was pregnant with my firstborn, and I had to drink tonic water, and I just thought tonic water is sweet, it's bitter, it's not balanced. Doesn't anyone know how to make good tonic water? And after that period of time, when my firstborn was probably around 10, I started seeing tonic waters be made in the syrup form. So I thought, oh, everyone must also feel that way now. Maybe the
Right.
bartenders are getting hip to this idea that tonic water can be better. Um, and so that's where we started, but we formulated our tonic waters with more balance. So that's why we've won so many awards. I think people that have picked up our products have been surprised that they actually like tonic. They're like, "Wow, I thought I hated tonic water." I'm like, "Well, you hate what it became." Yeah,
Right.
it's kind of like someone not liking beer and then having their first craft beer and saying, "Wow, this is actually good."
Right.
Um,
Right.
yeah, it's a different product now. So come back to it.
Well, great. I'm really looking forward to trying some actually. So tell us a story where someone pushed you or inspired you so that you knew you could do it and the impact that that had on you.
It's more recently, we've been at this for some time, and COVID really took a hit on our business. We've been struggling with lower margins, high inflationary packaging costs, and we've passed some of those costs on to the consumer, but we don't want to continue doing that. We want to kind of recharge our engines um, with packaging that will not only deliver values, but um, you know, uh, be more impactful and
Mhm.
allow us to really run the business and get the word out, right? Because that's actually where a lot of those dollars go, is in marketing, and you don't have it if you don't have it. So
Sure.
we've been kind of kicking the can down the road to find a good fit and packaging and co-packer, and we're kind of near that point. We were excited, but I had lost my energy to go out and ask for money, and I was talking to an advisor recently, or of a mentor, and I said, I need to get my head back in this game. And she was just super encouraging. She convinced me that I have created something of value, of worth, of real importance,
Mhm.
and to not quit. And sometimes you kind of need someone to, if you keep hitting brick walls, you need someone to help you dig the trench under it,
Sure. Sure.
or throw you over, one of the two. Um,
Right.
and keep on the trudge, because it does take a lot out of you. And she also encouraged, and I've been encouraged by other kind of mentor advisors, people helping us create the business case for this, to ensure that we're taking time for ourselves, both founders, because that's super important to keep your batteries charged.
Right. It
So I
totally
have a,
is.
a strong no on my books when I need to take a break, because you can be asked on kind of infinity to do demos, to do everything, and at some
Mhm.
point you have to say, wait, I've got to have the energy to run this business. So
Right.
yeah, it's important too.
Awesome. So, what's your biggest learning as a business owner?
My biggest learning as a business owner is it's a stoic philosophy. Um, embrace it, but know that, as stoicism teaches you, it takes longer than you want it to take. It could take a very long time.
Yeah, right.
So just get in the game and be willing to stick with it because it will take longer than you want. Um, that mentality that I'm gonna, kind of that lottery mentality. If you have a lottery mentality, you're really not made to run a business,
Hmm.
because it isn't that. It's in the trenches daily.
Sure, sure. So I know we talked a little bit about what's happened with COVID, but since then, what's your biggest challenge over the course of all of your career, and who was or is a fellow business owner or colleague who helped you get through that?
Well, I think we're still in the mix of the biggest challenge, and that is, when you're not surrounded necessarily by, um, you know, generational wealth. We're not on the East Coast. We're in the Midwest.
Yeah.
We're not of a family of generational wealth, and it's hard to get those connections. Um, but not being afraid to ask for the connections is
Hmm.
probably the biggest kind of leap that owning a business has given me is,
Hmm.
when you are afraid, that's probably when you need to go forward and,
You're
and
right.
make the decision.
And that's a great advice, because everything you're talking about as a business coach, I hear these things all the time. So, that is great advice for people, is to just, keep pushing forward and busting through, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, sometimes you could just be afraid to just, should I send this email? This person doesn't know me. You're very vulnerable, right? You have to
Yes.
be. But you've got to do those things. Those are the things that actually make the connections happen.
Hmm.
Um, and that's actually been like, I've learned that LinkedIn is a powerful tool. For
Yeah.
example, I really find just sometimes being vulnerable on LinkedIn, I've found people are very helpful, and because they want to be.
Yeah.
um, and I have been too in my career. I just never thought of being on the other side would be, you know impactful as well.
Hmm. So, if you had to pick three people in your business owner journey that you're most grateful for being there for your business growth, who are they?
Well, I guess my partner Jeff has been very supportive. He's actually starting his own business too, so we have to support each other. And I think, but he's the one that he was one that continued to encourage me, during COVID. And then, certainly I've had mentors and advisors that I've always long tapped into. Greg Hall, who sits on my advisory now, he's founder of Virtue Cider. He's gone through the ringer, in his
Hmm.
businesses, but he owned Goose Island for years, or was one of the founding members of Goose Island. So he has a lot of, innate knowledge of how to deal with the different things that are going to happen when you're a business owner, um, from small to large problems, and how to kind of deal with them.
Hmm.
And he's been vulnerable too. He's had to raise money. He took on, taking on a large company that actually joint ventured with him, and then he's, now taking kind of hold of his company again. So I think it's always a journey, right?
Hmm.
So I think there's always inspiration. I have been inspired a lot from my friends in craft beer, and Greg's one of them.
Great. Great.
Yeah.
So, what's the next big thing for you in your business?
I think getting into this new bottle will be a big deal. We would very much like to crack that code by the end of the year. So that requires fundraising and money, and then, kind of finding the right partners in retail to embrace this idea of hyper local bottling
Hmm.
and hyper local distribution, um, as a true way of being sustainable. We're in a strange category where sustainability kind of talked about, but it's not really done. And
Hmm.
we're trying to change that paradigm. We've always been the Gen Xers of the category, meaning we go a little against the grain,
Right?
and we're still going to do that. But call it for what it is. I think it's important to challenge the paradigms that are out there, especially if it's for the good of the earth and good for health.
Great, great. So as you're going along and you've got this new bottling and things like that, what do you think in the next 1 to 3 years? What is going to be your biggest challenge?
I think managing the growth then, finding the right people that will help us do that. Even if it's a beverage partner or if it's a sales broker, those sorts of things, because we don't you don't necessarily jump in 2 feet in hiring a large staff. You have to kind of
Hmm.
slowly build. So
Right.
it's kind of managing the business through other people, will be the biggest challenge, and some of those other people may not be full time to
Hmm.
dedicated to our business. So that's always a bit of a challenge too.
Right. Right. So what advice do you have for business owners who are trying to do it on their own?
It's very hard to do it on your own. You risk getting burned out. I have brought people on, lost people for various reasons. They're starting their own businesses or whatnot. It's helpful to have even an admin if you can hire one just to take some of that load off.
Mhm.
Um, if you can't hire an admin for whatever reason, get super organized.
Yeah.
Push the administrative stuff to 1 day a week or 1 hour into the day and don't do any more of it. That's kind of my best advice. The admin work will crush your spirit. So putting it onto someone else is really the best thing to do. Um, and if you can't do it, like I said, don't let it overtake your entire day because you'll forget what's important. My longest list right now is my sales
Hmm.
following up and my marketing,
Yep.
and it should remain that way.
Hmm.
I obviously have other things that pop in, because money raising is important. So those things are on the list too, but I've got to, I'm pushing sales forward every day, and that's the way to do it.
Yep. Excellent. Well, Mary, it sounds like you've been really blessed with some incredible people who've helped you on your journey. What would you like to say to them?
Well, I'll say thank you. I'm very gracious for people's time and energy and thoughts because I do use those ideas and thoughts.
Hmm.
It's you can't feel anything but gratitude for them wanting to help. Um, you know, and I believe it's genuine. I believe people really do want to help. So it's more thank you and more of a gratitude piece back at them. And if I can do anything to help you in the future, I want to be there.
Great, great. Well, Mary, it was a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Jackie. Take care.